season 1, episode 1 of the new hit show, The New York Giants Suck Ass, and I'm sick of it. The New York Giants are a clown show organization, and I'm sick of it. The New York Giants are the worst team in the last decade, and I'm sick of it. And you are too. I know you are too. When we talk about the failures of this franchise, we have to start at the ownership, at the top, right? This is one of the oldest, most storied franchises. Who's older? The Packers, the Bears, the Cardinals, right? This is also one of the only teams that's still owned and operated by the same family that started the team. There's pride here. There's legacy here. 1925, 101 years ago, a man named Tim Mara spends like $500 to start a football team called the New York Football Giants. Okay? He passes it down to his son, Wellington Mara, aka the Duke, right? And he's so instrumental in getting the deal done with Wilson to have a standardized ball for the whole league that they named the ball after him. Every ball from 1941 to 1970 is stamped with that name, the Duke. And again, from 2005 onwards, after his passing, they brought it back. And now his son, John Mara, owns it. All that to say that this is a genuine pioneering, trailblazing, foundational family of the National Football League. And now what are we? Now the air that surrounds MetLife Stadium, the air that surrounds 1925 Giants Drive stinks like shit. Stinks. Failure. We can't live in the past anymore. We can cherish it, and we deserve to, but we can't live in it. Even the Eli Manning Super Bowls, that's a bygone era of Giants football. We can go on YouTube and we can watch All In, the story of the 2011 New York Giants, and we can get our quick dopamine rush and have some momentary pleasure, but it's a bygone era of Giants football. Now, we're a get-right game for teams. We're an easy mark. Now, if teams are struggling to run the ball, guess what? You'll run for 200 yards against us. Can't rush the passer very well, you'll get 5 sacks against us. On a 4-game losing streak, we're up next on the schedule. That streak should break, right? That's who we are now. Now, losing is so deeply ingrained into the DNA of this team that I'm not shocked that the Broncos result, the Bears result, right? The Cowboys early on in the season, that result. I'm not surprised. It doesn't surprise me. And that's sad because losers lose, and we're losers. That's a hard truth, but I hope that we've all accepted that by now. And so I believe John Mara when he says that there's no one in the world that wants to see this turn around more than he does. That there's no one in the world that this bothers more than him. I believe him, and I bet he carries that weight. I bet he carries that weight with a lot of pressure, shame maybe, guilt maybe. I don't know. I would. I certainly would. And so I wonder if he's stuck, genuinely stuck between a rock and a hard place on multiple different fronts throughout the organization, right? His family members and how well they're performing at their duties, his security as an owner with the new investments rolling in. The Koch family just came and bought stake. They could offload like 1/30th of their portfolio and buy the whole thing outright. They'll offer a new stadium, a beer garden, all that kind of stuff, and it might be a pretty attractive offer. And of course, the cancer diagnosis and the betterment of the football team. And that's the most important part. So obviously we'll start with that because the cancer diagnosis is serious. Cancer is a sinister, persistent, evil son of a bitch. And I'm not speaking for just for myself, but I'm speaking for everybody in the Giants fan base that we're pulling for you, John Mara. We're pulling for you, absolutely. And if you're not a Giants fan. Or in the words of Evan Neal, you are a fair weather fan, right? This is a family affair. This is a family business. This is once a Giant, always a Giant, only a Giant. And if you're not pulling for John Mara, go pull for the Cowboys because that's where you belong genuinely. That being said, this cancer diagnosis, this current health situation cannot be an excuse to not do what needs to be done for this football team. It cannot be an excuse to do a disservice to the fan base, disservice to your legacy, and a disservice to your father and grandfather's legacy. That's not dramatic. That's not dramatic. What's happening now is a detriment to the legacy of every single Mara. Truth. So This has to be a reason for you to take a step back, John Mara. Take a step back. There's options. If you don't want to hire a long-term, overarching president of football operations because Kevin Abrams I don't care. I don't care about titles in the building or roles. I don't care what Kevin Abrams does, Chris Mara, Tim McDonald, Steve Tisch. I don't care what they do. I don't care. This has to be a reason for you to take a step back and hire somebody, the right person to come in here and fix this shit. Right? Or if you don't want that overarching long-term deal, do what the Dolphins are doing. The Dolphins are bringing in Troy Aikman to come help with their GM search. Now, I don't know Troy Aikman's history as in the front office of any team, but I know this. He's well known, respected, and connected within the league. 100% of front office staff members in the National Football League know who Troy Aikman is, and he knows the important ones in every building. I guarantee you that. And I don't think he has any long-term deal in place with the Dolphins. I think he's going to come, help with the search, use his expertise, use his connections, and then fuck off back to Joe Buck. Simple. Why can't we do that? So, someone with an objective point of view, no family ties, no emotions involved, right? Cutthroat, savvy, willing to have the hard conversations, willing to demote who needs to be demoted, willing to fire who needs to be fired, right? We all like to pick on Tim McDonald because it's warranted, okay? I want to know, genuinely want to know, what he did in his 6 years as a pro scout for the Giants that was so spectacular that he deserved a promotion to assistant director of player personnel. And then I want to also know what he did in those 2 years as the assistant director of player personnel in 2019 and 2020 that like gave him another promotion. Like, what did he do that was so spectacular that warranted another promotion to full-time director of player personnel, right? So, John Mara, if you don't want to have that hard conversation, you don't want to piss your wife off, you don't want to fire your nephew, or not your wife, your sister, excuse me, um, but you don't want to do that, let this guy do it. Let this guy do it. Because if you, it has, something has to change, and the changes are not being made by you. So someone has to do it. So imagine you or I, or anyone in this world, went the equivalent of 3-14 in back-to-back seasons as a GM in the National Football League. If you took that, warped it into to fit our occupations, your occupation, my occupation, we'd be fucking fired. Because it's just not good enough. Because it's downright horrible. That is downright horrible. I mean, if you're a college professor and your whole class fails your class 2 years in a row, unless you're tenured, you're getting fucking fired, right? I don't know if that's a good example, but you know what I'm trying to say. So Joe Schoen would not make the right decision for this team. He would not make the right decision for this team. He'll make the right decision for himself. And that's why I think Mike Kafka has a much better chance than a lot of people think. Mike Kafka might already be under his thumb, right? He might already be a yes man for Joe Schoen, controlled by Joe Schoen, right? Joe Schoen's not going to make the right hire for this team. What has he done to show you, me, or John Mara that he has what it takes to make the right decision? He doesn't make right decisions. Fucking A, he makes horrible decisions. God damn, my blood pressure's going up. Like, genuinely. And it's not an indictment on you, John Mara, if you step away and have someone come in and do this. It will be celebrated and praised because it shows initiative. It shows that you're willing and you care and you know what is the best option and you're willing to do it. Fuck Joe Schoen. I mean, seriously, Joe Schoen has got to go. And the closer we get to this Black Monday, the less likely that seems like it's going to happen. And it's really just unfortunate. It is really unfortunate. So, I don't know, man. Stepping away is not, it's like I said, it's not an indictment. You're still the owner. You're still cutting the checks. My God, you're still collecting them too. You know? The New York Giants will always be in the top 5 of every year's Forbes top most valued sports franchise list, whatever. You know what I mean? The only way to hurt your legacy is to continue on this path. Something has to change. So I guess that's all I got. But this is supposed to be the time where I gotta beg you to like and subscribe. So do that or don't. I really don't care. Um, but definitely more videos. I want to do head coaching stuff because that's make or break. I mean, this head coaching cycle, this is the most attractive job. If we don't get the right guy, it's gonna set us back 10 years. And we're already stuck in perpetual rebuild mode for 10 plus years. It's sad and it needs to end. So Jackson Dart's the chosen one. Carmen Brasillo's the man. You know, fire Joe Shane. Fire everybody. Clean house. And that's it. Go Giants.